Just as a disclaimer, we want you to know that some of the movies that we will be reviewing were shot in a different time and era where people of race and sex were not treated equally. We understand this and hope you do too. The movies or anything that happened on the sets are not the views of this podcast or what this show is intended to be all about.
Exactly. And we want to give due diligence in presenting the movie and not the views of the cast or directors or anyone involved. But we also feel it's necessary to let the audience know some of the background information to get a feel for what was happening at the time of shooting the film. Again, we hope you understand that we do not agree with everything that went on, and we just want to give out the information. And with that being said, hope you enjoy the show.
You spook easily, Starling?
Not yet, sir.
He's past the others. The last cell. I'll be watching. You'll do fine.
A killer is on the loose.
Keeps them alive for 3 days. Then he shoots them, skins them, and dumps them.
A rookie FBI agent is on his trail.
He's got real physical strength, cautious, precise, and he's never impulsive. He'll never stop.
But in order to track him down, she'll have to match wits.
I'll help you catch him, Clary.
Believe me, you don't want Hannibal Lecter inside your head.
With the darkest of all minds.
Just do your job, but never forget what he is.
Oh, he's a monster. Pure psychopath. So rare to capture one alive.
So close to the way you're going to catch him. Do you realize that? Oh, Clarice, your problem is you need to get more fun out of life.
You told me you don't spook easily.
You call this easy, sir?
Lecter's missing an arm. Man's a raving maniac. Who knows what he'll do?
Thank you, Clary.
All right, guys, welcome back to the Tragedy of Cinema podcast. I'm your host, Jimbo, and I'm joined today by these two serial killers.
The titular tired Terence.
And from the underworld, Kyle.
Today we'll be talking about the number 74 greatest movie of all time according to AFI's Top 100 Movies, The Silence of the Lambs. I just watched this again last night to get a refresher. Thoroughly enjoyed it again, so I know this is going to be a long episode, so Terence, let's just dive right into it.
Jump into
No
it, man.
questions, Jimbo?
No, well,
no
I'm-
questions. A whole nother episode of no questions. I am disappointed.
Okay, I'll do a question. Okay, Terence, have you eaten anybody?
What?
All right, let me ask you this question then. What is your favorite Anthony Hopkins movie?
Ooh.
That is a good question.
That is an
So is it
insanely
Thor 1,
good-
2, or 3?
This is why we don't ask questions, because then Terence is stuck like, oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna cop out with the Marvel answer. No, I honestly no. He's really good in these roles, and this and Hannibal, probably just really excellent. I mean, he's just so good in everything he does. But we'll stick with I'm gonna go on theme here and then go because it's the most recent movies I've watched.
So he took the easy way out, Kyle.
For me, I have to go with The Edge that he did with...
Easy way out, Mr.
Yeah,
Bust out your phone.
Yeah, I don't even remember what the one is I'm thinking
Yeah, you
of.
guys are looking up casting right now, but meanwhile, I have the casting written down. Ha 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 ha! I planned ahead with my role that I do every week, mostly. Anyway, I would say The Edge, where he's basically hunting, where he's being gets on a plane crash, he's hunted down by a bear, then has to kill the bear with Alec Baldwin.
Well-
And a great movie. It's my favorite Anthony Hopkins movie, probably.
You do know that he was also in Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Yes.
He was in Legends of the Fall, but he was really good at Meet Joe Black, too, if you remember Meet Joe Black.
Actually, I've never seen Meet Joe Black.
Really?
Yeah.
Legend of the Fall, Mask of Zorro, Thor, Transformers: The Last Night.
That movie is so bad, and Anthony Hopkins is so bad in it, but I love it for it.
Yeah, so
Okay, wait, one quick thing. Anthony Hopkins picks up an alien assault rifle at Stonehenge and fires it at Megatron, and somehow the movie is still boring. It's amazing.
All right, Terence, take it away.
All right, Silence of the Lambs, release date February 14th.
Valentine's Day.
1991.
What a great casting.
What a great love story. Really.
Yeah.
Really great movie to take your special someone to see.
Feel romantic with Buffalo Bill. Puts
This
the lotion on his
is
skin.
very obviously rated R. Yeah, rated R. Its budget was
For raunchy.
$19 million. That's the furthest description of the movie.
That was bad.
So, budget $19 million. Count for inflation, that's $38 million today, which is less than what we covered last week, which came out in the same year, 1991. Last week we did Defending Your Life. If we're looking at just the inflation cost, last week it was $46.1 million. This week we're looking at $38 million. So it's very interesting to see a lower budget film. But wait till you see the gross of this. So gross USA and Canada, we're looking at $130.7 million. Accounted for inflation, that's $262 million. Opening weekend, USA and Canada, it made $13.7 million. That's $28.5 million today.
Nice.
And then gross worldwide, $272.7 million. Accounting for inflation, that's $546.6 million.
Movie did very well. I'm proud of it.
It made so much.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
So, yeah, and well worth it. It is money earned. Sounds of the Lambs is really good. I like it.
So yeah,
Not to get too far ahead.
I just thought that was interesting that, like, you know, we're looking at this movie came out in the same year as the last movie we covered, had a lower budget, but my gosh, did it come out on top. It made so much money. So anyway, box office, February 1991, and we kind of got a glimpse of this last week. So we're looking at number one, and this is just February. I believe last week was
So these came out
April.
the same year?
Yeah, same year.
Wow.
Same year. So we're going to see the same top five. But instead of, you know, doing the
Going down.
yeah, instead of going down, we're just going to stick to the top five this time. But so we have, instead of April, now we're looking at February 1991 this week. So number one, we still have Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2.
Such a good movie.
The Secret of Ooze, right? At number 2, Out of Justice. Number 3, Silence of the Lambs. Number 4, Dances with Wolves. Number 5, Sleeping with the Enemy. And then 6, New Jack City. Number 7, Defending Your Life.
That was another good year for movies.
Yeah, there's a lot of good movies.
It's an excellent year for movies, you know.
Then we have box office 1991. Once again, we're just reiterating kind of what we saw last week. Number 1, Terminator 2. 2, Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves.
Love that movie
3,
too.
Home Alone. 4, Silence of the Lambs. 5, City Slickers.
Slickers. Man, I haven't seen that one in a long time.
Oh, it's a good movie, though. That's
Yeah.
a movie worth covering someday. But yeah, 1991. I'd say, like, at this point, thinking about it, it's probably like maybe the best year of that decade of films overall. Maybe.
No, there's movies.
But Terminator 2 is so good, though.
Terminator 2 is good.
That's right. It's the best year, folks.
This was directed by Jonathan Demme, who also directed Rachel Getting Married, Philadelphia, an adaptation. As far as the writing credits goes, this novel was based off of a book that Thomas Harris wrote, which was a trilogy, which consisted of this.
Wasn't Red Dragon?
It was first. It was
Silence of
the Lambs. No, Red Dragon was first. As far as the books goes, Red Dragon was first, then it was Silence of the Lambs, then Hannibal Rising. The movies went out of order. They came out with Silence of the Lambs, they did Hannibal, went back and did Red Dragon, and did they ever do Hannibal Rising? If they did, I have no memory of it.
No, well,
They did a TV show. Was that the name of it?
But I believe that was a prequel also.
No, because they did Silence of the Lambs, and they did the Hannibal movie, then they did the Hannibal sequel.
Yeah.
And then they
did Red Dragon.
Which was a prequel to the first movie. And then they did a fourth movie where Anthony Hopkins didn't reprise his role. That was the Hannibal Rising, where he goes in World War. It was him in World War II, and
really,
yeah, and then getting revenge for some Nazis that killed his sister. Not a spoiler. Not a good movie either, so don't worry about it.
And interesting little fact between the writer and the director was the writer was fully confident that Jonathan Demme, the director, would do the book justice, but even despite that and knowing that the cast was in good hands, he's still like, I will probably never watch the movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's understandable for a lot of authors. I mean, like, it's in the day, like, if you're writing something like that, it's your baby, and you can't just let someone else take control of that. You know, in some cases, like, some actors are different about it. You know, I mean, some writers are different about it, but like in general, like, I understand. Like, I could never watch him. Like, no, you took my baby and you did something else with it. That's yours now.
But I mean, it had the thumbs up from him. He just didn't.
He's still like,
care
it's
to
like,
watch
I'm
it.
sure it's good. But it's just I can't separate myself from it.
You would think he would want to be a consultant at least. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I didn't even see that one.
So I haven't read the book, so I can't say how accurate or not accurate it is. But hey, let us know if you have read the books, please.
Yeah.
Moving on, we have Ted Talley, who helped in writing of the screenplay, who also helped write Red Dragon. And then some other works he's done is Terra Nova and 12 Strong, being the most recent movie that they've done.
12 Strong, actually a pretty decent movie.
Terra Nova, wasn't that the TV series?
I think there was a TV series
there,
called Terra Nova, but I don't think it was related to the movie.
There's a movie and a TV series, both unrelated.
12 Strong is Afghanistan soldiers on horses. It's great.
Yeah, pretty much. Music by Howard Shore, and that name is familiar because he also helped do music for The Lord of the Rings, Gangs of New York, and Twilight.
2 out of 3.
You almost convinced me.
Director of
Not
photography.
what I think, though. I love Twilight. No, I'm kidding. Fine.
So then we have our director of photography. We have Tak Fujimoto, who also did photography for cinematography for The Sixth Sense, Signs, and the original Death Race 2000.
Actually, it's good.
Yeah, so pretty solid cinematographer.
Yeah.
Then we have film editing by Craig McKay, who also helped edit Philadelphia Reds and Sin Nombre.
You're on the pronunciation A game today, Terence. Just so you know, I'm really proud of you right now. Now mess it up just to ruin it.
The pressure.
I know, right? Now that you've said it, it's all going downhill.
He's going to mispronounce John now.
Is it Jan?
It's Jan?
The silence of Terence when he stops up.
So this was produced by Grace Blake, associate producer, Ron Bosman, producer, Gary.
And there it is, folks. Got him.
Goetzman, executive producer. Then we have producer Edward Saxon, and then finally producer Kenneth Oot.
Kenneth Oot.
Yep, Oot.
Mr. Oot. How you doing today, Mr. Oot?
And then finally off to the technical specs. We're looking at a runtime about an hour 58, so almost pushing that 2-hour mark. And then there was an original cut that was 2 hours and 18 minutes. And then there was actually, I believe that would be the 12-minute cut right before Clarice catches Buffalo Bill. There's a 12-minute cut that the director had with the editor. And he was like, I just have this gut feeling that it's a little too long, so we're going to cut it, and then it'll feel right. And so the editor was like, that really? I mean, we put a lot of time into filming that 12 minutes. And then he's just like, just go ahead and do it. And then so that would be the two different cuts. I imagine, I don't know for sure, but I think because of only like a 10-minute difference between them, almost like a 20-minute, that 12-minute cut made it into the original cut, along with maybe some other scenes. So another little fun fact from this movie.
Yeah.
And as far as like the technical and filming goes,
it's all about getting that right pace of the film and all that kind of stuff. And it's probably the right choice to make that cut.
I mean, it's the director's vision, and if he says, "Hey, let's do that," as long as the producers give the okay, he's good to go. Mm-hmm. This was done in Dolby Stereo sound mix, another movie in color. Aspect ratio 1.85 by 1. This was using Panaflex camera lenses and Panavision. This was edited in Technicolor Hollywood, as majority of the movies that we cover are. And also edited in Deluxe Hollywood. This is where the final prints were done. The negative format is 35 millimeter. And finally, we have our cinematographic process, which is spherical. And I think what I'll do is next episode, I'll go over, or in the next couple episodes, I'll do another deep dive into covering the cinematographic process as a refresher. I think last time I went over it was super early in early episodes, so refresher will never hurt.
This way I can finally figure out what he's been talking about this whole time.
Well, for Ben-Hur, there's all kinds of stuff going on with that one.
There really is. And then finally, printed film format, 35 millimeter, Eastman 5384. And that's just the type of film used.
Excellent.
And that's it for the technical specifications. Now, my all-time favorite part is the awards. There are a lot for this movie, so I'm just going to start shotgunning this stuff out. Academy Awards USA 1992. It won Oscar Best Picture, Silence of the Lambs, obviously. Best Actor in a Leading Role, Anthony Hopkins. Best Actress in a Leading Role, Jodie Foster. Best Director, Jonathan Demme. And finally, Best Writing Screenplay based on material previously produced or published, Ted Tally. This was also nominated for Best Sound and Best Film Editing. We have BAFTA Awards, 1992.
It stands for what?
British something film TV awards.
That's exactly it. You're right.
We have winner BAFTA Film Award, Best Actor Anthony Hopkins, Best Actress Jodie Foster. Gonna see that a lot. Mm-hmm. Nomination BAFTA Film Award for Best Screenplay Adapted, Best Cinematography, Best Direction, and Best Editing. Then we have Best Film, Best Original Score, and Best Sound. And those are all the nominations. Then we have our, once again, 2020 awards in 2012. Yeah, I know, right? We have the winner of the Felix Awards of Best Picture, Best Director, Best Actor, Best Actress, and Best Adapted Screenplay. Nominated for Best Supporting Actor, which would be Ted Levine. Best Supporting Actress, Brooke Smith. Best Film Editing, Best Original Score, Best Sound Design, Best Cinematography. Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films. Every time. USA, 2010. Nominated for Best DVD Collection, the Hannibal Anthology. And then once again, Academy of Science Fiction, Fantasy, and Horror Films, USA, 1992. It won Best Horror Film, Best Actor, Writing, Makeup, Actress. I'm shotgunning these now. Nominated for Director, Music, Costumes. American Cinema Editors, USA 1992, nominated for an Eddie for Best Edited Film Feature. Amsterdam Fantastic Film Festival, 1991. It won the Silver Scream Award. Jonathan Demme. I like that award. I'm going to have to look into that and see if we can pull up some other stuff with Halloween around the corner to see if we can find some more Scream awards.
Exactly, some good highlights. Yeah.
Oh, did you get that down at the bottom?
Oh, I'm skipping some of these.
Oh, okay.
There is a lot. Yeah. More of these that we've maybe heard of, or one of these that make me read less.
Some awards are better than others, folks, and Terence is the judge.
Awards Circuit Community Awards, 1991. They won an ACCA for Best Motion Picture, Best Director, Best Cast Ensemble. See, that's the first time I've seen that award. That's interesting. Best Actor in a Leading Role, Best Film Editing, Best Actress in a Leading Role, Best Adapted Screenplay, and Best Cinematography. They were nominated for Best Sound, Best Makeup and Hairstyling, and Best Original Score, Best Stunt Ensemble, Best Actor in a Supporting Role, and Best Production Design. Then we have the Awards of Japanese Academy, 1992. Nominated for Awards of Japanese Academy, Best Foreign Film, Berlin International Film Festival. So this was just a worldwide hit. 1991, a winner of the Silver Berlin Bear, Best Director. It tied with Ultra.
You know what always gets me? Is like the Academy of the Japanese Academy or whatever, where because we're used to seeing this as an American film, but it is a foreign film to them, so they give it the Foreign Film Award.
Yeah. Oh, it throws you for a loop for a second, like, wait a minute, America isn't the center of the world again. Oh, yeah. Forget about that. You know, the 90s, everybody, we were all raised to believe, America, center of the world. And it's harder to forget about that sometimes. Terence, what else do we have?
Well, let's see. We have the Blue Ribbon Awards in 1992, where they won a Blue Ribbon Award for Best Foreign Language Film.
Best ice cream flavor.
Best ice cream flavor.
Best ice cream flavor.
Silence of the Lambs.
Hannibal.
Come and get it. Eat your heart out, Ben and Jerry's.
Literally. What?
We have the Boston Society of Film Critic Awards, 1991.
Boston.
They won a BSFC for Best Film, Best Supporting Actor, Best Director, Best Cinematography. Then we have the Chicago Film Critics Association Awards, 1992. They won Best Picture, Actor, Actress, Director, Screenplay, all the best. Caesar Awards, France, 1992. I'm naming these just to show how it was just a hit everywhere. Nominated for a César, Best Foreign Film. Dallas Fort Worth Film Critics Association Awards, 1992. They won Best Actor and Actress. They were nominated for Best Picture, Director, and Screenplay. Directors Guild of America, USA, 1992. They won Outstanding Directional Achievement in Motion Pictures. Wow.
Now they're just making up names for awards to give them.
How long can we make this award name?
The last half is just gibberish, returns to no.
We have Edgar Allan Poe Awards, 1992. Winner for the Edgar of Best Motion Picture. Fangoria Chainsaw Awards, 1991. Nice. Winner of a Chainsaw Award. Best Actor, Actress, Best Studio and Big Budget Film, Best Screenplay, and Best Soundtrack. Now, I'd have to look at other movies in 1991 to see if that counted as big budget, because it just seems not even close to big budget. 19 million is considered pretty low
nowadays. When you be an indie film,
yeah, exactly. I mean, even when you account for inflation, which what were we looking at?
38 million, roughly.
Yeah, something like that. 38 million. You're still on the cusp of being a low budget, but not considered high budget. You're in this middle ground.
It's all relative, I guess. I don't know.
So
it wasn't as big as Terminator 2 in budget. So
for sure.
Film. Everything's either the King of the World or the slums.
We have Best Screenplay, and then finally nominated for Best Soundtrack. Then we have the Fargo Island Film Festival, 1991. They were nominated for Best Film. Golden Globes. Winner, Golden Globe. Best Performance by an Actress in a Motion Picture Drama. Jodie Foster, obviously. Just, as a little reminder of who we're talking about.
You go, girl.
Nominee for a Golden Globe for Best Best Motion Picture Drama and Best Director Motion Picture. Best Performance by an Actor in a Motion Picture Drama and Best Screenplay Motion Picture. Golden Screen, Germany, 1991. Winner for a Golden Screen. That's it.
The awkward pause.
Jupiter Awards, 1991. We have a winner for a Jupiter Award, Best International Actress, Jodie Foster. Here's an interesting one. We have the Italian National Syndicate of Film Journalists, 1992, nominated for a Silver Ribbon for Best Foreign Director.
I'd like to see just an entire wall of all the Silence of the Lambs awards and just see how far it goes.
I don't think I have enough bookcases in my studio here to fill those.
Yeah.
London Critics Circle Film Awards, 1992. They were nominated for Film of the Year, Actor of the Year, Actress of the Year, and Director of the Year. National Board of Review, 1991. They won the NBR for Best Film, Best Director, Best Supporting Actor, Top 10 Films. National Film Preservation Board. It hit that in 2011. Congratulations.
Proud of you.
National Society of Film Critics, USA, 1992. Nominated for a NSFC Award. Best Actress and Best Director. Moving along, we got some online awards, both in this year. What do you know? Online Film and Television Association 2021. I don't know. I'm so used to saying 2000 that I was like, wait a minute. That's not
I
how
got
that's
this.
said
This
at
is not
all.
right. Where's my purse?
I was on too much of a roll. I had to get stumped somewhere.
Exactly.
Right?
It's okay.
I
We still believe in you, Terence.
It won this year the OFTA Film Hall of Fame for the character Anthony Hopkins as Dr. Hannibal Lecter.
Hannibal the Cannibal.
And then once again, that happened back in 1997, where it was Best Motion Picture. People's Choice Awards, 1992, winner for Favorite Dramatic Motion Picture. And then finally, we have... Yeah, I'm just going to say this one's the last one. PGA Awards 1992 winner for Outstanding Producer of Theatrical Motion Pictures. Edward Saxon, Kenneth Oot, and Ron Bosman.
You lied. There's another page of awards.
I mean, I could throw out. We got Satellite Awards 2007. Nominated for Satellite Award, Best DVD Extras. There are so many awards, people.
The Writers Guild of America. Oh,
and he didn't even say all the awards.
I
There
didn't.
just so
I skipped
many.
so many. I said the most notable ones, some of the fun ones. We had some fun banter. Now we're going to move on to Kyle, who's going to tell us the wonderful cast.
He
of
said
this
before
movie.
he came over, he said, I just need the awards printed. I didn't know I was going to have to cut down a forest to print the awards out.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, back to the fields, parents. Yeah. Well, now that Terence is done with the awards, I need to get on with the cast.
And that's the end of the podcast. We're at an hour.
Stay tuned for part 2.
Lucky thing about the cast, it never, it kind of stays the same for me because I trim it down whenever I want to, and Terence has to do either a mile of awards or one page. Never really know. But anyways, let's move on here. We of course have the legendary Anthony Hopkins. He needs no introduction. Basically, if you want to list the top 10 living actors today, Anthony Hopkins is in there. Maybe the top, maybe not, but he's in there. That's law in my book. But anyways, Anthony Hopkins plays the Dr. Hannibal Lecter, also known as Hannibal the Cannibal. You'll of course recognize him from such films as currently Odin in the MCU films, and the MCU Thor films, my bad. Also in one of my personal favorite films, The Edge. He also played Alfred Hitchcock in the Alfred Hitchcock biopic movie, Hitchcock.
Yep.
Most recently, he was in the film where The Father, where he suffers from Alzheimer's, where he plays a character who suffers from Alzheimer's. Very good movie. And one of Jimbo's personal favorites, Meet Joe Black. So overall, Anthony Hopkins' legendary career, everything he's in is...
You're forgetting The Elephant Man.
The Elephant Man.
That movie.
Westworld, or...
Elephant Man was a great movie.
Yeah, or Bram Stoker's Dracula and some of the other films. Like Anthony Hopkins had a long legendary career. It's amazing he's still working today, and love everything he's in. I love him and everything that he's in. Not necessarily he's been in some bad films too, like Transformers the last night. But still, Anthony Hopkins is kind of amazing. Next up, we have Jodie Foster, who plays Agent Clarice Starling. Jodie Foster, also a great actress in her own right, been in many films, and has an excellent career that continues to go on to this day, and might make the top 10 list for a lot of people too. No, personally mine, definitely. You'll recognize her from movies such as Ronald Reagan's favorite Taxi Driver, and movies such as Contact Aliens, and The Accused, Flight Plan, Inside Man, and The Beaver. So Jodie Foster, great actor, love her to death. What?
No, just listen.
Good. Saw some unhealthy eye contact and had to think like, I said beaver. No. It's a good movie. And next up we have...
I was just thinking of zombie beavers or whatever.
Zombie beaver. No, the beaver film, like Mel Gibson has like a puppet beaver in its...
I know what you're talking about now.
It's a crazy movie. I love that one too. But anyways, moving on. Next up we have Ted Levine playing Buffalo Bill himself. The Buffalo, not himself. Ted Levine is actually Buffalo Bill. Buffalo Bill, the central antagonist of the film, if not Hannibal Lecter. Anyways, you'll recognize Ted Levine from movies like Shutter Island, where he played like the kind of bashful prison guard.
That's a good movie too.
Good movie, yeah. He's also an American Gangster and The Fast and the Furious. He also was a recurring character on the Monk TV series for a while, I believe. And overall, actor, steady worker, and a great actor all in all. Next up, we have Anthony Heald, who plays Dr. Frederick Chilton, the kind of evil therapist over Hannibal's domain. You'll recognize him from movies such as Deep Rising, 8mm, Accepted, and A Time to Kill.
Good movie too.
Good movie as well. Yeah,
A couple good movies actually.
Yeah. So definitely, everyone in this cast actually seems to have they may not appeared in many films, but the most films they appeared in are pretty good. Next up, we have Frankie Faison, who plays Barney Matthews. You may recognize him from Coming to America, White Chicks, and Maximum Overdrive. And Barney Matthews was the basically the kind of the prison orderly staff who was basically loosely a friend of Hannibal, I guess. He also is a recurring character in both the sequel and the prequel films.
That's true, yeah.
Yep. Next up, we have Diane Baker, who plays Senator Ruth Martin. She is a legendary actress in her own rights, playing a lot of movies in the 60s and 50s, such as Marnie in 64, Mirage in 65, Journey to the Center of the Earth in 1959, and The Prize in 1963. So, a great actress in her own field, definitely was popular especially in the 60s and 50s, and makes a good, small but noteworthy appearance in this film altogether. And lastly, for what my cast in was Scott Glenn plays Jack Crawford. You recognize him in such films as Urban Cowboy, Silverado, The Hunt for Red October, and The Right Stuff. And that is the cast.
Did you do the lady that played Catherine?
Lady who played Catherine. No, I did not do that one. I can look it up.
Okay. Because I thought she did a really good job in this, too.
Mm-hmm. That's right. I need to get that as well.
Quickly, Kyle.
And also who played Precious. the dog.
Yeah, the dog, yeah. I did look up the dog, but I couldn't find it. I'd look up who played Catherine.
So, Terence,
Brooke Smith played Catherine. You'll recognize her from such movies and TV shows such as she was in Grey's Anatomy since 2005, the TV show Big Sky, and a lot of other TV shows, like in movies like the TV show Ray Donovan, another movie of Anthony Hopkins, Bad Company. And she's in the Bates Motel series. Well, they're not still ongoing, but yeah. So
Terrence, go ahead and give us the synopsis of this movie.
The synopsis. There is a serial killer at large, and a young rookie FBI agent is sent to converse with an intellectual who is also under high security guard in prison, known as Hannibal Lecter, and together they try to find this serial killer. More or less, I mean, the movie more or less kind of insinuates he knew the whole time, and he's just helping her turn the gears in her head as she tries to solve the crime.
Mm-hmm. Because he's a serial killer himself.
Yes. Exactly, yeah.
Hannibal
not only that, but I mean, he's also a very intelligent
Now,
person.
let me ask you a question.
I forgot what his credentials were.
Where do you think the name came from, The Silence of the Lambs? Because it ties into the movie. If you watch the movie, it ties right into the movie.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking about the story about her dreaming.
So when she opens up, it's not a dream.
When she's talking to Hannibal about
she has a
childhood.
traumatizing moment of her childhood, which Hannibal is very interested in, because that's part of the deal. Like, they have a whole deal, and he's like, "Okay, you tell me about yourself, and I will tell you what I know about Buffalo Bill." And then, so at one point, he finally goes there into telling him what happened. I believe this is when he's already moved. This is near the end of the movie when she gives that story?
This is actually probably the second to last scene right before he's moved over. Yeah.
So, they have this conversation where, long story short, when she was a child, she lost her father, very traumatizing, and then she was on a ranch with her uncle, to which she heard screaming. She looked into one of the barns, found out it was the sheep, or the lambs. They were being slaughtered, I believe, and that traumatized her. She ran away.
She grabbed one of the lambs.
She grabbed one, and but couldn't get far with it because it was just too heavy. And so she just constantly has nightmares about the screaming lambs. And so Hannibal's whole jab is like, "Oh, you want to save this person from Buffalo Bill, so then you can silence the lambs in your dreams." Which
was really cool because at the end, I think is it when he's on the phone with her, or the last time soon, and he says, "And how about the lambs? Have they stopped screaming yet?"
Yeah.
So therefore,
your dreams returned. Yeah,
the silence of the lambs. I thought that was, Hannibal Lecter is one of those people that he kind of feels for her, man. Because she's like, he's not going to hurt me in this movie, because he's like, he wants to see.
He's clearly infatuated with her.
He is.
It's not an infatuation; it's more of an interest. He's a man who doesn't like boredom, and when he finds someone of interest, he likes to poke and prod, which is what he does the whole movie. I mean, you can tell that he immediately he almost loses interest, but then she does a couple things that piques his interest, so then he continues his interaction with Clarice.
Well, we should point out that Buffalo Bill has kidnapped the senator's daughter.
Yeah.
One of the senator's daughter, and that's why they send Jodie Foster in to try to coerce him to help. And when he first goes to see her, in his little cell at the end of the hall, you see her just walking down there by herself, and she gets there and he's just sitting there. And I thought it was really neat that I think they only have interaction 4 times during the whole movie.
Yeah. And even Anthony Hopkins himself only shows up in like maybe.
Right. But if you notice, every time that they're together, the reflection of the other one is seen in like the glass. Like when you're looking at Jodie Foster, you see Anthony Hopkins' reflection, in the glass. I thought that was really well done cinematography-wise and stuff. But she just wants to help save this. She knows she's running out of time, but every time she goes to prod Hannibal Lecter, he's always like, well, you got to tell me something about yourself. And she's like, we don't have time for this. He's like, well, then that was part of the agreement. And, she tried to say, oh, well, if you help us, you can go to this island where you can go out on this beach. But he's like, oh, yeah, the disease-controlled planet or the island or whatever. And she's like, well, you can walk on the beach. She's like, not all of it, just some of it. And, that's a real island.
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. So
another interesting thing, just to kind of tie it in, just because it does fit in with what we're talking about, the on-screen chemistry between Anthony Hopkins and Jodie Foster was more insinuated by the fact that they did not talk or interact while filming this.
She was scared of him.
And it's really funny because at the end she lets him know. She's like, I'm scared of you. And he goes, well, I'm scared of you. So that's an interesting sort of interaction there. And that also goes the same with Jodie Foster and the actor who played Buffalo Bill.
He did really well.
They also did not interact while on set, more or less to create that suspense within themselves to be insinuated in their acting while filming the movie, which I think is very interesting.
Yeah, and another huge aspect of this film I don't want to dismiss yet, but also like this is a very, very dark and adult movie. Obviously, if you've seen it, especially, but there's also a heavy degree of sexism and what like the fears of being a woman in a male dominated field too. Like it's entirely dominated like that. Like the degrees of which like Buffalo Bill is essentially considers himself a transsexual or something like that, or
that was actually one of the huge tidbits, because there was some backlash about it, and both the director and the author have came out and going, no, he didn't like see himself as that. Like he saw himself as like something else, but couldn't like sort of label it. But he definitely
confused his own identity in that sense. But he used the wrong labels for it, and perhaps wasn't properly written in the time frame for understanding specifically that transgender people.
But the movie did go out and say, they even went to say, I believe Clarice had an assessment where she's like, well, he doesn't really fit the profile of someone who's transgender.
Well, Hannibal Lecter actually says there's 3 or 4 different types. It was either him or the FBI general. Remember, he says, well, there's different layers. I think it was Hannibal Lecter. He's like, there's one that's going the full length transgender. There's one that's stuck in between. They don't know what to do. There's some of them that think that they don't know what they're doing. He laid out the whole groundwork for it. I just can't remember. I watched it last night, but I can't remember the exact wording.
Basically, long story short, he goes. Hannibal confirms that Buffalo Bill's not transgender.
Yeah, he's not. He's on one. He might convey that he is, or like he might suspect he himself is, but he's not really a transgender person.
It's more of I forgot what the terms he used, but in short, it was. They did clearly state, at least in the movie, once again, haven't read the books, but in the movie they did clearly state, hey, he's not transgender. So then it doesn't, like, it's not a movie that says, hey, these people are bad.
Yeah, but even then further, like, it keeps going further, just like, Hannibal Lecter keeps going into, like, how men treat Clarice Starling. Like, even, like, the first interaction, as soon as Clarice leaves, she is sexually assaulted in a very disgusting manner, and Hannibal Lecter takes that as a point where he talks a man into committing suicide.
Well, that's when he calls her back. He starts yelling at her, and he's like, "Look, you don't want to trust me here. You need to see Doctor whoever, to help work on my case or something, and you need to see him and pull up these records or whatever." So, the notes was over 25 pages long when I printed them.
I bet.
I cut it down to
a lot of movie.
9 to 11. So
I have a couple tidbits I'll throw out too.
As we go through this, these are obviously out of the order of the movie. So if you hopefully have seen this movie. we'll just start talking about it and we can ad-lib as we go along. So, Jodie Foster claims that during the first meeting between Dr. Hannibal Lecter and Clarice Sterling, Sir Anthony Hopkins' mocking of her southern accent was improvised on the spot. Foster's horrified reaction was genuine since she felt personally attacked. She later thanked Hopkins for generating such an honest reaction. So I thought that was pretty interesting that he just made it up on the spot. Like,
Anthony Hopkins is known to ad-lib, for sure.
Yeah. He also studied a lot of serial killers for this movie. He visited prisons, studied convicted murderers, and he was even present during some court hearings concerning gruesome murders and serial killings.
I think all the actors really went above and beyond as far as just research for their roles.
Oh, yeah, the FBI.
Anthony Hopkins looked into the serial killers and murderers. Jodie Foster actually went to an FBI academy, and so did... the gentleman who played her superior.
I think it was Jack Crawford, wasn't it? Scott Glenn.
Yeah, Jack Crawford.
And he was actually, he's like, I will never see certain things. Like, I've learned things I wish I didn't know.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely dive into the darkest parts of humanity there. And
I think it was even
because he was side by side with the current FBI director.
I get to it later, but here it is right here that Jodie Foster spent time with the FBI agent Mary Ann Krause prior to filming. She gave Jodie Foster the idea of Clarice standing by her crying because sometimes she says that the work just becomes so overwhelming that it is a good way to get rid of an emotional release. So I thought that was really good information given to Jodie Foster for this movie. When they were going to move Lecter to Baltimore, or from Baltimore, they planned to dress him in yellow and orange jumpsuit, like, prison you see. But Anthony Hopkins was like, look, he went to the director and costume director, like, if you dress me in all white, he said, it's just going to stand out better. It'll be unsettling for people to see me dressed. And I looked at him, I was like, man, he looks creepy in all white.
Right?
You know what
Absolutely.
I mean?
Very good call.
But you know where he got it from, right? He's afraid of dentists. He said that's what they think he got it from.
And that's definitely like when you think about gruesome actors and people rooting inside your mouth. That's definitely makes you think of Hannibal.
Right.
But another thing I think I just realized we're kind of going to be over to is like Hannibal Lecter is an iconic horror villain in his own right in a way where like it feels odd to put him in place, but he still stands alongside like Michael Myers and Jason Voorhees in my mind.
But you watch this movie and you're thinking, well, this guy just seems like a normal guy. You know, I mean, you hear stuff, but he's very intellectual, and it's until later in the movie you're like, well, this guy is just crazy.
I think that's also like part of the uniqueness of his monstrosity is that like I think you might get later in the trivia, but like one of the characteristics of the fact that makes him so terrifying is that there's no reason why he's a psychopath necessarily.
Well, there's even saying that if you remember, they said that when he killed the one guy, when he attacked, I think it was a nurse or something, that his blood pressure didn't get over 84 or his pulse rate didn't get over 84. Yeah. And if you later in the movie when he kills the ambulance driver or whatever, when they're giving it stays the same. It stays the same.
Yeah.
So, but we'll get to that part.
Yeah.
With only 24 minutes and 52 seconds of screen time, Anthony Hopkins' performance in this movie is the second shortest to ever win an Academy Award for Best Actor in a leading role.
Oh, wow.
With David Niven in Separate Tables from 1958 beating him at 23 minutes and 39 seconds. So
looks like we got a movie to add to the list.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
Another time.
Another inspiration for Anthony Hopkins was his friend back in London, who rarely blinked when speaking. So he said it unnerved everybody around him. So you're not blinking, just talking.
Oh yeah.
So that'd be pretty crazy too.
Jimbo does it too.
Yeah. Here's something else that you may have not picked up on: that when characters are talking to Jodie Foster, they talk directly into the camera. So they're following the camera as they're talking. So you're actually getting her perspective. But every time that she is speaking, you see her talking, it's not from her point of view. She's looking off camera, kind of like, you know what I mean? So you get the feeling that you're in her shoes for most of the movie.
And also, like, the point of the perspective, like, the camera's also kind of like bearing down on her, almost like a threatening posture in both her perspective and, like, from the perspective of the people walking at her. Everything's kind of framed in a threatening manner to a point.
Yeah, there's
kind of especially like when she's walking down the hallway by herself to see Lecter.
So this really showcases
cinematography.
Like, yeah, the cinematography of Tak Fujimoto, and just a lot of different unique framing techniques, using techniques of an actor looking to a camera, which is not used all the time. And, for this perspective, and almost in certain ways you can tell sort of the intimidating difference between Hannibal Lecter and Clarice. And there's even a shot when she's going through the FBI Academy just to insinuate, she's a woman in a man's world, where it's just a bunch of men towering over her, and then there's tiny little Jodie Foster.
It just goes to show how much of a masterclass of filmmaking this truly is. Because you can't even attribute to any one person. You can't say it was just Jodie Foster, it was just Anthony Hopkins, or it was just the director, or just a cinematographer. It's one of those things. Every person brought their A game and made this film so cohesive in its theme and narrative that is truly a spectacle to behold.
Well, another thing is, we all know that she was running away from stuff in her childhood, and I think it was very interesting that they opened the scene with her running through the forest and stuff, because that is a flashback, direct call to of her younger days, which I read later on. And it was her idea, Jodie Foster's idea, to put that in there because they wanted to open the scene with a FBI raid. Where remember when it was a training exercise where he pulls the gun on the back of his. She's like, "Did you not look behind you?" Which plays a part later on in the movie with Buffalo Bill.
They contextualize that scene in a really good way. But you're right. Even that first scene where she's running through the forest, you expect she's ascending, but they managed to slope the camera so it almost looks like she's running at a flat angle, almost running at a flat surface. And even the music is playing almost a tragic and dour note to almost like a tragedy going on of a horror movie. And
it's she was always struggling uphill.
Always struggling uphill, always being put down, even when she's trying to rise above it all in such a way. So one of those things where it's just oh man, that's just bravo, so good job.
And you wouldn't notice that unless you watched the whole movie either. So, but once I watched it the second time, you're like, oh well, no, this you see a lot more things.
Catching things.
This is just made for film analysis and film critics. Everyone can look into every single little aspect. They made the right call.
Yeah, the real life FBI's behavioral science unit assessed in the making of this movie. Also, the production received full cooperation from the FBI as they saw it as a potential recruiting tool to hire more female agents. So,
wow, that's an interesting idea. How many women honestly watch everything Agent Clarice Sterling goes through and thinks I want to do that? To be honest, it is a serious undertaking, an admirable goal, but also watching that film, the last thing I'd want to be is Clarice.
The Silence of the Lambs was inspired by the real life relationship between University of Washington criminology professor and profiler Bob Keppel and serial killer Ted Bundy. Bundy helped Keppel investigate the Green River serial killings in Washington. Bundy was executed January 24, 1989. The Green River killings were finally solved in 2001 when Gary Ridgway was arrested. On November 5, 2003, in a Seattle courtroom, Ridgway pled guilty to 48 counts of aggravated first-degree murder. Oof. Yeah, so...
Jeez.
When Jonathan Dim filmed the scene when Lecter and Sterling first meet, Sir Anthony Hopkins said that he should look directly at the camera as it panned into his line of sight. He felt Lecter should be portrayed as knowing everything. Yeah. Which done a well job.
It really, feels that way the whole time.
And adds to the terror of the scene of everything. Yeah, it was all-knowing, scary, mean.
Movie recouped its budget in its first week of its release. So.
Many times over.
Almost in the weekend.
Anthony Hopkins' agent sent him a copy in London of... so he said he was going to send him a script of The Silence of the Lambs, and he thought it was going to be a children's movie.
Such a carefree... The Silence of the Lambs. Yeah. Ooh, how enjoyable. Yeah, you think there'd be a rainbow in it.
Right.
Yeah. When studying the character play, Anthony Hopkins knows similar characteristics in reptiles. Reptiles only blink when they want to and do it consciously. Therefore, in the movie, Hopkins only blinks in special moments and very consciously. So that always adds to the fear factor or whatever. Ted Levine, who played, of course, Buffalo Bill, when he found out during the scouting for the house that he was going to be portrayed in the movie, discovered it, the house being in the town where he grew up. But not only that, but it was literally next door to the house of his high school girlfriend. So, wow, small world.
Right.
Anthony Hopkins saw Lecter as similar to HAL 9000 in 2001, A Space Odyssey, a highly complex, highly intelligent, highly logical killing machine who seems to know everything going on around him.
Pretty great.
Jodie Foster, I actually first read the Thomas Harris novel, she tried to buy the rights herself, but only to find out that Gene Hackman had beaten her to it. So Gene Hackman owned the rights to this
Gene
movie.
Hackman, always
Or the book.
in.
Yeah. He was a great actor, too, though.
Love him to death.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Hackman planned to direct this movie and play either Dr. Hannibal Lecter or Jack Crawford. He withdrew after watching a clip of himself in Mississippi Burning in 1988 at the 61st Annual Academy Awards, which made him uneasy about taking more violent roles. So have you ever seen Mississippi Burning? I haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, but that makes sense to me. That's something I can't be comfortable with personally. But go ahead, sorry.
No, another interesting thing about the director was, interestingly enough, during breaks in filming, Jonathan Demme, he basically found the time to make his own documentary. His cousin Bobby chronicled the exploits of a director's real-life cousin who was a priest working out of Harlem. So it's interesting that even when he wasn't working, he was working.
Right. Also, let's see here. When Ted Talley was writing the screenplay for this movie, he suggested Jodie Foster, but Foster had been lobbying hard for the part, but when Jonathan Demme was hired to direct, he wanted Michelle Pfeiffer to play Clarice instead. Pfeiffer turned it down because Orion Pictures wasn't willing to pay the $2 million for which she asked. Demme then agreed to meet Foster. He hired her after only one meeting because he said he could see her strength and determination for the part, and he felt that was perfect for Clarice. Sir Anthony Hopkins described his voice for Dr. Hannibal Lecter as a combination of Truman Capote and Katharine Hepburn.
I can see it.
To everyone's surprise, reclusive author Thomas Harrison, all of the Oscar recipients, A Case of Wine. Clarice Starling was chosen by the American Film Institute as the 6th greatest movie hero out of 50, the highest ranked female on the list, and Dr. Hannibal Lecter was chosen as number 1 greatest movie villain out of 50. Now, we can park right there and talk about that all we want, because being the greatest movie villain of all time...
Greatest movie villain.
You've got a lot of villains.
I mean, it's obviously M. Bison from Street Fighter, right?
I mean, you got Darth Vader.
Yeah.
I mean, you could go on and on and on. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So
present business.
I think as far as just like presence throughout the movie, possibly. You know what I mean? Like there are iconic and notable villains, but then there's also like sort of what the villain also brings to the table, and like each villain sort of has their own thing that they bring and how they interact with its protagonists and stuff like that. Like it's an interesting sort of thing to think about, and it's almost hard to even choose who would be the quote-unquote best villain, just because they're all so different in how, and especially when you're looking at, like, you'd almost have to at the very least categorize it by the type of movie, because, you know, obviously a psychological horror villain is going to be super different from a sci-fi villain or
a comic book hero villain.
Exactly. Like a Marvel movie
or
villain.
Sauron or somebody like that.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Fantasy
very
film.
different
Harry Potter.
So, like, I feel, I feel comfortable saying they occupy the same company of, high quality character villains. But to say like one's better than the other, it's just like, it's.
I would go ahead and say of psychological thrillers, yes. I mean, it's very common.
Yeah. At the same time, I see like different strokes for different folks. It's like it's to each their own to a huge degree on even the psychological horror angle, or just like. I would say like Hellraiser or something like that could be up in that kind of, or Pinhead could be up in that category for me of psychological horror that deeply disturbs me. But I don't feel comfortable saying one's better than the other necessarily.
Yeah.
But that's also my personal judgment.
That'd be a hard rank to do. Maybe that'll be the next question for the next episode. That's right, you guys.
You're just springing on me. What's your top 2 right now?
Yeah. Within like I said, Hopkins and Foster only shares 4 scenes of this movie. Within 10 years of the release of this movie, the building used for the exterior of Lecter's asylum had been shut down and demolished. Footage from this movie was reused to create the establishing shot used in Red Dragon in 2002.
Yeah. Further on, Jodie Foster.
Foster. It's Australian for beer.
The Jodie Foster stated in Inside Story of The Silence of the Lambs that this is one of her favorite movies of her own. So she actually really enjoys it herself. That's great. The movie's line, a census taker once tried to test me. I ate his liver with some fava beans and a nice shanty, was voted the number 21 movie quote of American Film Institute out of 100.
That was improv. The end part in particular, where he's like,
well, it's a different.
The fava beans and a nice shanty.
Yeah, and that got on the producer or director's nerves. He said it was okay first that he improvised, that it just got old. But one thing, it's in the notes somewhere, but I want to throw it in here, is the movie poster. It shows the moth or whatever.
Yeah.
Judy Foster and the moth. The white of the moth is actually like 7 naked ladies or 9 naked ladies, and I had never noticed that until I looked at that last night, and I was like, wow, because I thought it was just a moth with the death head or whatever.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Also, to piggyback off of that, the moths that they use in the film, they were seeing if they can actually use those moths. But the moths that they had were currently going through some kind of there was a disease rampant among the moths, so they were dying. So the ones that they had in containment where they were, they were like, well, typically, we can offer to let sets use insects and stuff for this kind of thing, but right now we just don't have them on hand. So they actually took a moth and then they dressed them to look like.
Yeah, I have it in here somewhere where they got the royal treatment.
Exactly.
Suits painted on and all that. But also, the first moth cocoon found in one of the victims' throats was made from a combination of Tootsie Rolls and gummy bears. So if it was swallowed, it would still be edible.
That's great.
Whatever it is, I think I see.
Yep.
When a Tootsie Roll.
Yep. When Ted Levine auditioned to play Buffalo Bill, Brooke Smith, who plays Catherine Martin, was so impressed by his acting that she asked him what he did to get such a great performance. Levine admitted he didn't know what to do, so he drank a lot of coffee.
That's fair. Yeah.
It makes so much more sense when you watch the film, too.
Right.
Yep. Most of the movie was shot in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which was chosen for its large variety of landscapes and architecture. Some of the movie's interior scenes, including the Baltimore jail scene in the beginning and the ballroom scene of Dr. Hannibal Lecter in his cage, were shot in Soldiers and Saviors Memorial, located in the 5th Avenue in the Oakland area of Pittsburgh. Part of Jodie's deal for this movie was that Orion Pictures would allow her to direct a movie. She directed Little Man Tate in 1991. So just after her, too. This movie was originally scheduled for release in the fall of 1990. Orion Pictures delayed its release to late January 1991 so they could focus on promoting Dances with Wolves for Oscar consideration.
Did you like Dances with Wolves?
Never seen it, actually.
I watched it, but I don't remember it.
It's long.
I watched it when I was like,
it's a lot of movie to commit to.
It's long.
I was a kid when I attempted to watch it.
It's long,
and I was like, my concept of what I thought it was, and then what it actually ended up being, were two totally different things. And I'm pretty sure I didn't finish it.
Doesn't Dancing with Wolves still hold the longest run in the theater?
What?
I believe it's still longest run of being played in theaters.
What?
Dances with Wolves in 1990. I believe it still does.
Ben-Hur has it was in for like weeks. I got it in my notes.
I want to say Dances with Wolves was literally in for like years or something like that. I'd have to check, but I believe it had the record at some point. But anyways, it was pushed back so they could focus on Dancing with Wolves. This movie, and of course, Dancing with Wolves won all 5 major Academy Awards. A notable exception to the conventional wisdom that movies released early in the calendar year were forgotten by Oscar time.
When Clarice visits Hannibal Lecter in his new facility, Lecter insists she continue telling him about her child as part of the agreement. Clarice reluctantly agrees and continues her story about running away. Midway through her confession, she mentions taking a lamb with her. If one listens closely after she says, "I thought if I could save just one," a distant sound of something being dropped can be heard in the background. A crewman dropped a wrench during filming. Jonathan Dean panicked, thinking it would ruin the scene completely. However, Foster remained in character and continued the story, ultimately convincing Dean to keep the footage. After cut was said, Foster turned her head to the crew and yelled, "What was that?" But how do you stay in character? You kind of we're eating and somebody drops something, you just over there like, hey, what was that?
Yeah, everyone turns around and looks, but like it's at the same time, like if you're a trained actor, to commit to just staying in character all times.
Commit to the bit.
You got to commit to it. If you're not in it, you're out. So I respect that. Jodie Foster, great actor, and of course Anthony Hopkins, a legendary actor. According to the director Jonathan Demme, there were 300 applicants for the role of Clarice Starling, including Meg Ryan and Michelle Pfeiffer, thank you, that turned down the role because of the disturbing subject matter. Brooke Smith, who ended up playing Catherine Martin, and Nicole Kidman read for the part. Next up, we have Gene Siskel was the only mainstream critic to give the Best Picture winner a negative review. Siskel disliked the elements of the camp and gothic about the film and cited Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer, 1986, as a more honest depiction of a psychopath, my bad.
One of the most shocking moments of this movie is James Gunn's dance was not included in the original draft of the screenplay, although it appears in the novel. It was added in the assistant Ted Levine, who thought the scene was essential in defining the character. If you remember where he's dancing, he's all dressed up, he's dancing, and he's like got the camera stuff from, and then he backs up and opens like his robe, and you're like, oh,
well then.
Well, yeah, but it was very. Now, to me, I don't know if that was part of the female bodysuit he had made and sewed together.
No, it wasn't, because that was up on display when.
I didn't know if he just had more than one.
It looked like he was just working on the one, and then Clarice was making her rounds, going door to door, trying to.
So it looked like he was castrated.
Possibly self-mutilated even.
Yeah, that's what I was like. So that was a shocking moment. I wasn't expecting that when I was watching it. So be prepared if you do watch this. If you see him start dancing in front of a camera and it slowly start backing away, you may want to skip a few scenes.
Yeah, this is definitely a shocking and grotesque film in many respects.
I did mention it's rated R at the beginning.
Yeah, for raunchy.
Oh, here it is. The pattern on the moth's back in the movie poster is not the natural pattern of the death head's hawk moth. It is, in fact, Salvador Dali's In Voluptuous Moors, a picture of 7 naked women made to look like a human skull. So,
yep,
pretty cool.
So
weird, but cool.
Speaking of interesting, crazy scenes that happen in the movie, one of the most sort of the climactic scene in the end, the night vision goggle.
It was a great scene.
So, interestingly enough, that was so. In the basement where Sterling's getting stalked by Buffalo Bill and all that scene took 22 hours to film. That little scene of all that happening, because it was, they wanted to add intensity. They wanted to make sure they had the tension correct and everything. They also wanted to maintain the belief that this was the point of the film, that Buffalo Bill was resigned to his fate and stuff like that. So it's just interesting that such a short scene, but also the climactic scene just took so long to film.
Yeah, definitely one of the densest scenes of the movie, of just having to film all those little individual shots in night vision and get them all just right.
Yeah,
it's incredibly demanding. So bravo to the cinematographers again, all the filmmakers. Yeah. So another fun fact, Ed Harris turned down the role of Jack Crawford because he didn't find the role interesting enough and would have rather played Dr. Hannibal Lecter. That would have been a very different movie.
Yeah,
right.
But do you know that Anthony Hopkins viewed this as his last-ditch effort to break out in Hollywood? Although he had acted in movies and on television since the 60s, he had not reached A-list status, nor had he attained the prestige for which he had been hoping for with his screen acting career. He went on to say that if the film hadn't garnered his career boost he was seeking, he would have then quit his acting career in Hollywood and focused all his efforts instead on the British stage. Ultimately, the film was a major critical and commercial success, instantly making him a household name. His performance in the film earned him his first Academy Award nomination for Best Actor, for which he won, immediately launching him into the A-list status in Hollywood. As of 2020, Hopkins has received 4 more Academy Award nominations. So
good for him.
All well deserved.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if this would have flopped?
Oh, man.
It would have been the end of Anthony Hopkins.
Well, it would have been the legendary stage actor who never got to see screen. You know,
Instead, he'd appear on Doctor Who, like all British actors.
exactly.
Where do British actors go to die?
What if a doctor? Entertainment Weekly voted this the 4th scariest movie of all time. Which
I think that's a stretch.
when you're in like the psychological horror and suspense, that's just like that's a.
But speaking of that, I'm going to put Norman Bates ahead of Hannibal Lecter, personally, in a psychological thriller.
But also, like a degree of uneasiness isn't necessarily like a horror to me. Like it's.
Well, I don't know. Once again, it's different because I wouldn't so much say it was more of the mystery of Norman Bates, where like Hannibal Lecter, he's an oppressive force in the movie. He's a gentleman where you never feel in control and you feel like he is always puppeteering the situation. Because he always seems to know everything, just like how they planned when he wrote the character, and so it's a very different feel of like Norman Bates is more or less an uneasiness, and you really don't feel the unhingedness until the end, where you find out, oh, okay, he's two different people.
You're right.
But Hannibal Lecter is just right at the get-go. You know what he is, and you know what he's capable of. You know what he can do, and yet Clarice has to still come face to face, knowing what he's capable of and what can do and how manipulative he can be. I mean, they show how manipulative he is right afterwards when all he does is talk to the inmate that had assaulted Clarice in a gross fashion. All he did was talk to him, and then he ended up taking his own life.
Yeah,
which just shows sort of
horrible.
like
It's deeply unsettling to
exactly. So it's like it shows how sort of manipulative he is capable of being, which is obviously insinuated in the sequel. But like he's just sort of this force to be reckoned with in this particular psychological thriller, which is interesting because there are the two ways you can go, which is the unknown factor of like Norman Bates, let's say, and then there's we know what it is, and that's terrifying.
Yeah, and possibly genius. Psychopath. Yeah.
Brooke Smith, who played Catherine, gained 25 pounds for her role. Her and Ted Levine were also got very close on the set, making Jodie Foster refer to Brooke Smith as Patricia Hearst, who was a kidnapping victim who later fell in love with her kidnapper. Also, Brooke Smith entered in and out of the pit by crouching through a small door that was half her size. It was then covered with dirt to keep it out of the side of the camera. Now, one thing that's interesting to me is the basement of this house is huge. Yeah. From the outside of the house, you didn't think it was that big, but once she goes in the basement, she goes, there's the room with the sewing stuff in it. Then there's another room that's all dark and everything. Then there's the other room with the pit. And I'm like, how far does this basement go? It was everywhere.
Interesting fact about that basement: it was actually that was filmed in an abandoned factory. Like that the whole sort of
basement area.
That pit, that basement area. It was this large area that they were able to build multiple sets on top of, but I read a comment that they were like, it's just as gross as it looks.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, to me, did the basement fit the house?
Actually,
you're talking to somebody who's come from California. I don't know how big basements could be or are.
So I live in a clean home, but I do have a home of a similar layout in many respects, of being almost a shotgun style as
Kyle's sewing machine over here.
Exactly. My skin suit, don't ask. But as it goes from room to room to room, and it kind of continuously goes further back into the property than you'd actually expect for a regular house, and then not really the case for the basement being very realistic, but it's also clear that Buffalo Bill clearly made alterations himself over presumably decades at that point of like digging it out and possibly doing his own.
That's what I was coming to. Was it a dugout where the hole?
Yeah. So he dug out the hole, and obviously, I think also he has construction experience where he.
But he couldn't have done it in a long period of time because the lady that lived there had just died.
Yeah.
So you can't say he's done it over time because
that's true.
Mrs. Lipowski or something like that, the lady that lived there, had just recently, because she was like, "Hey, can I?" Or they moved out or whatever.
Couple months.
He's like, yeah. So
because that was his
cover
first victim, but the fourth body they found.
Well, that's one of those things where it's like it's not. it's unexplained, but it's not impossible that he had some way of, like, if he existed there, he could have found a way to inhabit that property before he fully moved in, before they died or moved away or something like that, to where he could have done those additions to the...
Yeah, I guess that they also never completely explained the sort of relationship between him and her. All you know is that there was a connection between the two, and she is somebody he saw every day and presumably learned how to sew.
So it's not inconceivable that some way he found to manipulate her and that property to make it to his serial killer delights.
It will all be a mystery, or hey, maybe it's in the book.
It's a it's all in the book. Don't worry.
It's in the book.
If you buy my prequel book,
Like Casablanca in 1942, this movie contains a famous misquoted line. Most people quote Dr. Hannibal Lecter's famous saying when he meets Clarice as what?
Hello, Clarice.
That is not it.
That is what everybody likes.
That's what everybody likes to say, but that didn't appear until Hannibal in 2001. It's actually Good Evening, Clarice. When Dr. Hannibal Lecter and Clarice, Julianne Moore, speaks on the phone for the first time in Hannibal, he says, "Hello, Clarice." This was possibly put in by the writers as a joke, an inside joke, in reference to the misquoting of this movie.
So furthermore, since the movie had an early release for the year 1991, it was the first movie that was also widely available on home video at the time of the Academy Award ceremony to win Best Picture. So kind of a fun little double fact on that. Yeah. Also, in Hannibal's cell, in the first scene, a copy of Bon Appetit magazine can be seen in Dr. Hannibal's Lecter's cell, because clearly he's a foodie. He likes several exotic proteins.
Yeah. This movie got rave reviews when it came out. Chicago Tribune film critic Siskel and Ebert, for those of us that are older know who they were, the greatest at the movies, would be a television show that they did the movie reviews. He was notorious hostile to horror movies, slammed the movie, and gave it only 2 stars. He said in his review, director Deem superheats The Silence of the Lambs to the point of silliness in terms of both gross behavior and a pulsating soundtrack. The conclusion of this film is nothing more than a grisly version of every mad slasher picture you've ever missed. Jody's in trouble. Shoot, Jody, shoot. The movie, of course, went on to become a phenomenon, a huge box office hit, and the only horror movie to ever win the Academy Award for Best Picture. It is now considered one of the best horror movies ever made and still has a huge cult following and fan base. Roger Ebert, Siskel's fellow film critic and sparring partner of At the Movies, loved the movie and would continue to ridicule Siskel for missing the boat on this movie for years after this. The tobacco hornworm moths used throughout this movie was given celebrity treatment. They were flown first class to the set in a special carrier, had special living quarters, rooms with controlled humidity and heat, and were dressed in carefully designed costumes, body shields bearing a painted skull and crossbones. So... The CGI eat your heart out.
Yay, practical effects.
We already talked about them. Sir John Hurt, Christopher Lloyd, Dustin Hoffman, Patrick Stewart, Lou Gossett Jr., Robert Duvall, Jack Nicholson, and Robert De Niro were all considered for the role of Dr. Hannibal Lecter. Jeremy Irons was asked but turned down the role as he just played Klaus von Bülow in Reversal of Fortune and didn't want to play another dark character.
Very glad they went with that.
Yeah. Yes, I know that. That's in my notes or your notes.
Okay.
In 2016, the Empire magazine, John Lithgow named Anthony Hopkins Lecter as one of the greatest screen villains of all times, adding, "Even though I was next in line for the role." John Lithgow, can you imagine? I can see him more as Buffalo Bill. Also, Martha Stewart and Anthony Hopkins dated briefly during production. Following the film's release, Stewart ended the relationship because she couldn't divorce Hopkins from his performance as Hannibal Lecter.
Actually, no.
That is very great.
Actually, there's
next on Martha Stewart.
It's very interesting that's the case a lot of the time. Sometimes when it comes to actors who portray villains, they portray them so well, or they hear that their spouses portray them so well that they actually won't see the movie, so then they won't see their spouse different.
Right. Buffalo Bill's dog, Precious, is a Bichon Frise, in case you want to get one that looks like Precious.
Yeah. The third EMS attendant treating Sergeant Pimby, Alex Coleman, is Jeff Bush, a paramedic and owner of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania Emergency Vehicle Company that detailed all the emergency vehicles in this movie. Some of the scenes were filmed in Bel Air, Ohio, birthplace of Ted Levine, who played Buffalo Bill. Dr. Hannibal Lecter said he ate victims' liver with some fava beans and a nice Chianti. Liver, fava beans, and a wine all contained substance called terramine. which can kill a person who has taken a certain class of antidepressant drugs, known as MAO inhibitors. And MAO inhibitors were the first antidepressants development and used primarily on patients in mental institutions that Lecter worked in and was committed to an mental institution. So
great zombie director George A. Romero had a cameo in this. He is the bearded man who accompanies Dr. Frederick Chilton and the two guards who forcibly removed Clarice after a final meeting with Dr. Hannibal Lecter. I thought that was very interesting. Also, Clarice was actually a big inspiration for Scully in the X-Files.
That 100% makes sense, yeah.
And Jodie Foster herself actually did have a small cameo, I think, within like season 8 or 7 or something like that.
I haven't got that far.
Yeah.
No, we haven't started that.
Someday. Yeah. In an interview with John Carpenter declared his disappointment over the movie for focusing on Clarice Starling's character, and that he would have loved to direct this, making it much more frightening and gripping. Yeah. I can only imagine what film he would have made. Not necessarily better, but definitely different.
Clarice and Hannibal Lecter has no physical contact in this movie except at the end when she's leaving him and their fingers. Actually, he kind of rubs her finger in the file exchange in Memphis, Tennessee. So I thought that was very interesting too.
Yeah, the death head's marking on the moth is a reference to Edgar Allan Poe's famous short story *The Gold Bug*, which also features an insect with a skull-like pattern on its back.
Yeah.
Plum Island Animal Disease Research Facility is a real facility near Montauk, New York. The film was briefly considered for a direct-to-video release as studio executives felt that the film's subject matter was too distasteful to be marketed to a mass audience. That was a foolhardy decision. It was subsequently released on a Valentine's Day, an unusual release date for a horror movie, and had the #1 at the box office for 5 weeks in a row. So, literally, they made the right call in the end, but man, that could have gone south quick.
Right? It took a gamble. It paid off.
That would have been like, the year's beauty gem to being like a cult classic. That's the whole difference, right? Yeah. Inspiration for the song Buffalo. This served as inspiration for the song Buffalo Bill by Eminem. And Michael Keaton, Mickey Rourke, and Sir Kenneth Branagh were all considered for the role of Jack Crawford.
Oh, Michael Keaton would have been great.
Michael Keaton would be. We have Green Green everything, so of course he would have been great. This movie is included on Roger Ebert's greatest movies list. Can't believe I butchered that man's name. Such a legend.
You Terrenced it.
Yeah, Terrenced it.
It happens.
Yep. Included amongst the 1001 movies you must see before you die, edited by Steven Schneider. Included amongst the American Film Institute's 1998 list of the top 100 greatest American movies. Besides Clarice and Catherine, Buffalo Bill doesn't interact with anyone else in the entire film.
That's true.
Yeah.
Along with his limited screen time.
Yep.
Yeah.
So in the scene where Buffalo Bill traps Catherine Martin is inspired by Ted Bundy. In the movie scene, Buffalo Bill, aka James Gum, pretends to be a crippled person trying to move a couch in a street where he knows Catherine Martin happens to be watching. He limps along in the street, fake struggling with the couch until Mrs. Martin finally offers to help him lift up the couch into his van. She goes in first at his request, and then when he sees she's concerned in the back of the van, he suddenly slams the door on her and drives off. This is taken from various true life accounts about how Bundy faking a broken arm while trying to carry some books. He would drop the books as part of a charade, and someone would watching him the whole time would offer to help him carry stuff to his car or his house. At which point he would capture the woman, much like Buffalo Bill in the movie. Art imitates life, which imitates art, etc.
All right. Well, there's so much more we could cover. I cut down 13 pages of notes or so from this. So there's obviously a lot more, but we just did a lot of the highlights. So, Terrence, go ahead and give us your thoughts on this movie.
I still really enjoy this movie. I'm a huge fan of psychological thrillers in particular. Like it's my favorite sort of horror genre, so to speak. I like these over slashers and stuff. I really like psychological horror. So for me, it rates really high. It's got Anthony Hopkins, Jodie Foster, just so many notable names. It's well written. The cinematography is phenomenal. The score really accentuates the sort of sense of like dread or that sense of what's going to happen next. So it's very well done. And complimenting and not sort of overpowering or being sort of under-delivered either. So it finds that nice middle ground. I really have nothing but good things to say about it. So if you like psychological thrillers and for some reason haven't seen this, or if you haven't seen it in a long time, give it another watch. This one's a must-watch in my book. And was it on this one on the top 100?
Yes, it
was.
was.
Number 74.
74. Top 100.
So and I think it's pretty deserving. A lot of great performances, just all across the board, both technical and practical, as far as this whole movie goes. So nothing. I don't think I have any complaints about the movie in particular either. Like it's a movie that given more time, you can really fully analyze this movie even deeper than we have on just the surface level of it. It's a good movie. I enjoyed it. I like it. Thumbs up.
Yeah. I think I can totally echo what Terence said there. I think this is a film that occupies the category of perfect or near perfect films in many respects, where it has a deeply unsettling and distasteful and horrifying place, but yet makes it entertaining for you to still watch regardless, and is a masterclass in filmmaking on its own right, where it infinitely rewards people for looking into it, finding out how the cinematographer works, the choices in dialogue and acting and director and direction and everything like that, and it's an incredible film on its own right. So it's absolutely a must-watch. I can't promise necessarily it will be the film you enjoy the most. It's not necessarily going to be your favorite film of all time, but it is one of the films that you can easily appreciate and always enjoy, I believe. And despite its incredibly adult content. So, absolutely enjoyed it. I think it's a 10 out of 10 all the way and love it. Jimbo, how do you feel?
The thing I like about this movie is that it's got plot upon plot upon plot upon plot. It's got different plots throughout the movie that all intertwine. You start with Jodie Foster and her being a rookie on the FBI, to her childhood, all the trauma from her childhood, to Hannibal Lecter being behind bars. You don't know why he was there. I mean, you know why, but you don't know why.
Yeah, not
because
really
it doesn't
details,
really detail that out until later in the other movies. Then you have the whole Buffalo Bill thing. Then you have the whole senator thing. Then you have Anthony Hopkins being transferred. So now, not only do you have Clarice and the FBI going after Buffalo Bill, now you have Hannibal Lecter escaping seemingly unescapable odds, where he kills the paramedics. And that whole scene is fantastic, where he cuts the guy's face off and puts him there to escape in the ambulance. So it doesn't get really grimy till later in the movie. It's just more of a psychological think ahead and try to put the puzzle pieces together as you go along. It's kind of like a whodunit as you try to figure it out.
A mental game of chess.
A plethora of chess pieces, yes. But Anthony Hopkins always has you checkmate. And the ending of the movie is fantastic, where she's receiving this award for capturing Buffalo Bill, and the FBI director is like, well, you deserve this, basically, whatever. And he's like, don't forget about your phone call. So he goes over to the phone call, and he's like, good evening, Clarice. Have you finally heard this lamb stop screaming? She's like, Dr. Lecter, where? He's like, don't worry about it. She's like, no, I need to know. He's like, well, you won't find me. She's like, well, I can't stop looking, or whatever.
I like that.
And then she's like, well, where are you? And he says, I'm meeting an old friend for dinner, or having an old friend for dinner. And I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
And then as you see him walking down that road at the end with his hat on, his hat blows off at some point, and a stagehand picks up because of the fact that. But I watched it last night, and I could not see it. I watched as it goes down.
I didn't catch it.
And they got down to about this far, and I was like, I still could see it, but they say it's in there. So, well, this has been a longer than normal episode. Hope you stuck around for it. But I think our next movie is even more epic. Ben-Hur. So stay tuned for another long episode next time. So that being said, this long episode is coming to close, and that's a wrap. And fellas,
and cut.